The Pittsburgh Steelers are absolutely genius for all the moves that they have made this offseason. The Steelers are definitely one of the teams that have been winning free agency and winning the offseason so far, because some of the moves that they have made, well, they could potentially turn around this franchise instead of just being a team that's known of going 500 or winning one game over 500 to potentially actually going into the playoffs, because recent years, every time they've gone to a playoff game, they've gotten absolutely destroyed. But hey man, I have to admit, as a Raven fan myself, some of the moves that the Steelers have made this year have been pretty good, and I'm here to break it all down because some of them in my opinion are absolutely genius. Now before I get into it, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, it'd be very much appreciated, and comment who do you think should be the starting quarterback for the Steelers next year, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. And let's get straight into it. The first thing that we should talk about is the important trade and signing that the Steelers made this offseason concerning Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So if you don't know, of course, the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson had a huge falling out, and the Broncos are going to go ahead and cut him and pay him a ton of money, and they're going to have a ton of money in dead cap. So Russell Wilson went ahead and became a free agent, and he visited the Steelers. I think the Giants were another team on that list. But he would go ahead and sign with the Steelers, majority of the reason being if he were to sign with the Steelers, he would be the starter, and the Giants didn't guarantee that. And man, oh man, the Steelers got a steal out of this deal. They went ahead and gave Russell Wilson $1.2 million. For a man who didn't play horrible last year, yes, I know he got benched on that game on Christmas Eve versus Denver because they lost, but Russ' stats, they honestly weren't that bad last year. Russ last year, he played 15 games. Of course, his record wasn't good. He went 7-8. He would have a completion percentage of 66.4, which isn't horrible. He threw for 3,070 yards. And his first year in Denver, of course, he would turn over the ball a lot. And with Sean Payton coming in Denver, you know, it seems like Russ can play football where he doesn't turn over the ball. 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. I mean, hey, that's pretty good. If Russell Wilson can play like this in Pittsburgh, he shouldn't have a hard time whatsoever. If he's able to play calm and collect football, efficient football, he should be chilling. But if he does start playing like how he played in his first year in Denver, things are not going to be good. Because I know Mike Tomlin is not going to stand for a quarterback that's going to go ahead and turn over the ball a ton. But I think you guys can agree with me on this one. $1.2 million is an absolute steal for Russell Wilson. Just an absolute steal. They didn't trade any draft picks, nothing like that. $1.2 million. That is literally nothing. And then the Steelers would go ahead and trade for quarterback Justin Fields. Now, me personally, as a Raven fan, of course, I don't like when the Steelers win, and you know, we're rivals and stuff like that. But you know what? I sat down and looked at the situation and saw that Justin Fields was still with the Chicago Bears. And you know, I really kept thinking to myself that Justin Fields would be nice with the Steelers. I kept saying it over and over again. If Justin Fields were to land somewhere, it should be Pittsburgh after, you know, all these other quarterbacks signed with teams. I feel like Justin Fields would have been the perfect landing spot. And the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers went ahead and got a deal done. The Steelers would trade one draft pick that can become a 4th round pick. Based on Fields' playing time this year, he has to play around 51% of the snaps. But as of right now, they just traded a 2025 6th round pick, which in my opinion is an absolute steal and absolutely hilarious. And I truly believe that the Chicago Bears got absolutely robbed with this one, because I feel like Justin Fields is worth way more than a 6th round pick. And this trade truly just depends on how you feel about Justin Fields. I personally think, I know some people in the comments might tear me in the comments for this one. I believe that Justin Fields can be a franchise quarterback with the right pieces around him. I truly believe it. And I feel like in Pittsburgh, he's going to show that. I truly believe that Justin Fields is going to be the Steelers franchise quarterback going forward. I know some people are going to get mad in the comments. Some Steeler fans might get mad in the comments because, you know, we've seen the Justin Fields stats in Chicago. You know, he wasn't the best quarterback ever. And of course, the Bears weren't winning games, but there are some flashes in there, man. Some flashes. Those last 2 years in Chicago, he really showed some of those flashes, and they're really in there. And I truly believe he can be a franchise quarterback. Now, there's only one big problem with my grand scheme of saying Justin Fields can be the Steeler franchise quarterback. Of course, now Adam Schefter came out and said that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for week 1 going into next year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, unless like Justin Fields has like an amazing training camp or Russ gets hurt. So I'm going to assume that Russell Wilson is going to be the day 1 starter, and I believe that he should be the day 1 starter. I know there was news coming out that, oh, if Russ does this, he wants to sign a long-term contract with Pittsburgh. I don't think that's going to happen. This is what I believe is going to happen. I believe that Russell Wilson is going to play this year as a starter. Now, unless he's playing like horribly bad and he gets benched, then I could see Justin Fields coming in and playing, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Russell Wilson's gonna play through this whole year, and then I think the Steelers are gonna go ahead and extend Justin Fields' 5th-year option, and just because of that, have Russ on that 1-year deal, they might go ahead and re-sign him as a backup or something, but I believe that Justin Fields is gonna be the starting quarterback in 2025 to the 2026 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe that their plan is, have him sit behind Russ, have him learn some things, learn some things from a vet, especially one like Russ. I feel like that is a perfect thing for him to go ahead and do. But yeah, I feel like after this year, but the next year, Justin Fields is going to be the starter for the Steelers. Now, there's one thing we got to talk about this offense. Of course, Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator. In Pittsburgh now, they went from Matt Canada to Arthur Smith, but I feel like Arthur Smith is better at an offensive coordinator position than he is at a head coach position. Because, hey, I will have to admit, Smith kind of revived Ryan Tannehill's career when he was in Tennessee. He had Ryan Tannehill playing some pretty good football, so I believe that he's gonna have Russell Wilson playing some pretty good football as well. But I feel like Tomlin's gonna be doing most of the personnel on the offense, and Tomlin knows who the good players are and who should be in on the offense that are good. But the Steelers are really gonna have to be looking into the draft this year for a couple of reasons. Of course, they got Najee Harris. He's been kind of a mid running back recently. Jaylen Warren, I'm a huge Jaylen Warren guy. He's explosive. He's a great receiving back. I feel like he's going to get used a ton this year. Like, just because how much Russell Wilson used McLaughlin in Denver, I feel like Jaylen Warren's going to be in that same type of role. So be prepared for a ton of Jaylen Warren receptions this year. But, in this offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's something they're lacking. They got a great tight end in Pat Freiermuth. I believe Darnell Washington's a great tight end, even though he didn't do much his rookie year. That wide receiver room is kind of lacking. Besides, of course, George Pickens, the NFL menace, he was doing some great things with Mason Rudolph last year. He's going to be an interesting guy to look at in fantasy football drafts. They got Van Jefferson. He was pretty good with the Rams, but besides that, they got some Denzel Mims and some Calvin Austin. Yeah, they're going to need to draft a wide receiver this year, probably in like the 2nd round or something like that, because they're going to need some more offensive playmakers for sure, because just having George Pickens, in my opinion, he's a great wide receiver, but they need more besides just him. And he's made some other moves this offseason, like taking away Patrick Queen from the Baltimore Ravens. That was a huge move. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Queen. He was a Baltimore Raven, but it's kind of sucked that we're losing him to a division rival and we're gonna have to play him twice a year. But you know what? We'll see you 2 times next year, Patrick Queen, because I feel like this, this Raven offense and this Raven defense got something for you since you want to go ahead and go to the Steelers. Out of all teams he could have went to Seattle and reunite with McDonald's, but no, he went to the Steelers. But I have to admit, the Steelers GM Khan, he was cooking with that move by priding him away from, their division rival. But everything that the Steelers done this offseason was a very smart idea in my opinion, and they took a lot of risk, and I feel like in my opinion, it was finally time for the Steelers to start taking risks, because when you have a guy like TJ Watt on your defense, a generational talent, he's getting older and older as every season goes on, and that's a Super Bowl caliber player right there in TJ Watt. He basically leads the league in sacks every year, and he's a defensive player of the year candidate every single year. You got to start taking risk, and you got to start having this team be a playoff contender every single year, because before you know it, that Super Bowl caliber player that you have on your team doesn't want to be here anymore because he has Super Bowl aspirations. So I feel like this is the perfect time for them to finally start taking risks, because they're gonna need to at this point, especially when they have an elite head coach like Mike Tomlin, because I feel like he doesn't have that many years left in the tank, because the retirement rumors started coming out last year after that terrible loss to the Buffalo Bills. He's an elite head coach. He's been in the league for a long time. He also has Super Bowl aspirations, so he wants to win, and he wants to win playoff games. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments about the video. It's just a little mini breakdown of some of the moves that the Steelers made this offseason, why I think, some of these moves are very, very smart, and I hope some of you guys can agree with me. So if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. It's very, very much appreciated. Watch this video right here on how the Atlanta Falcons added the missing piece. I broke down their whole offseason, the big signing that they had. And ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next one.